How is it that this woman did not allow Jesus to shame her, if that was even his point? I'd like to think that he saw this woman right away. And of course, what clue did she give? Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David. She knew who Jesus was. And he must have thought, boy, if only those disciples of mine, the apostles, were so clear about my identity. And so for all that we know, Jesus used this as an example to teach his disciples how to bring the best out of people. And we might not like the process. We might think that really was, too sharp a language. But again, we need to understand Middle Eastern culture to the best of our ability. This was very common, to throw out a statement that, and this woman shows us how to deal with statements. She could have said, like, I'm only for the house of Israel. Oh, are you telling me that I'm nothing? Are you telling me that I'm not worth anything? Did she say anything like it? Not on your life. She said, I don't particularly care who you've come to. I want you to take care of me. Very assertive, very clear. I mean, a situation in which, again, there were all kinds of errors. Jesus and this woman should never have been conversing with each other without another man present to protect her or whatever. But the interesting thing is, this woman is saying, I don't need anybody to protect me. I don't need anybody to help me. I know who I am, and I know who Jesus is, and we're going to work this out. And so how is it then that in our interactions, whether we're in middle school, high school, whether we're in old folks' land or whatever the case may be, that we can, in our interactions with one another, get beyond some of the, as I mentioned earlier, well, if you don't vote for this person, don't consider yourself a Christian. Don't consider yourself a Catholic. Huh? Since when, again, did you become the font of all wisdom? This is something that we as a community decide. We need to sort out who can best serve our people and how we can see to the needs of the majority of people and not focus narrowly on one or the other concern that we have. So, shaming, honoring. Jesus honored this woman by the way he treated her, because he just saw in her something that she wasn't going to back down. And that's how, and it's not a matter of necessarily bucking heads. That's not what it is at all. It's, again, the Middle Eastern way of you say something and it depends upon how the other person takes it. And in these days, we know that our response to a lot of different statements or opinions that or questions that come at us is we tend to get defensive. We tend to feel less. We feel shamed. And it's so important for us to think of this woman and how she knew who she was, that she was one of God's beloved people, and that she knew that Jesus could help her. She believed that deep in her being. And that's how we want to continue to, in our reflection time, in our prayer, continue to anchor our lives in who we are. And that with our youth, whether it's middle school or high school, or us older folks, that we can help them continue to renew for them, help them renew for them who they are, that no one has a right to demean them. No one has a right to bully them. No one has a right to tell them that they are inferior or even that they're wrong. It's perfectly okay for someone to say, and this is across all age spectrums, perfectly okay to say, well, I guess you think and feel pretty strongly about that, but I have a different way of looking at it. Well, I'm not interested in that. Well, again, we can kind of get the EBGB, what am I supposed to do with that? And say, well, and again, to stay in our identity and say, well, what has you saying that you're not interested in how I view this particular situation? I don't understand that. We continue to engage, do our best, but we can't do that if we're going to get defensive and